Hi peeps, so today I'm going to be going out and shooting some film, specifically Harman Phoenix. This is a new film, or a relatively new film. At least for me it's the first time I'm shooting it, so I'm quite excited for it. So I've opened the box already actually, and if you can tell, it opens up and spreads to a picture of a phoenix. And that's amazing, I love these little attention to details. And so what I'll be shooting with is this Pentax Spotmatic camera. You just have a few dials, the shutter speed right here on top. You have the aperture control on the lens, and you control the focus on the lens as well. And there's a meter switch, light meter, right here. And that's about it. That's all you have to worry about, simple and nice. For lenses, I have this 35mm for some wider shots, a nice 135mm f2.5 for things farther away, and you have the trusty old 50mm, which is already mounted on the camera. So some background information on the camera itself, if you're nerdy enough to care. This Pentax Spotmatic is released in 1964, and it's actually one of the first cameras to have built-in light metering. So before then, you would have to use a separate device, a light meter specifically, to determine how bright your scene is. But in the modern day, I would use my phone as a light meter. It's accurate enough. So the name Spotmatic is kind of a misnomer actually, because at first the designers and engineers of the camera wanted it to have spot metering, which means it would only mirror the center of a scene. So maybe like my face here, it would tell you how bright that is, and it would kind of ignore everything else around the frame. But then they decided that was kind of not intuitive, and the Spotmatic ended up with a center-weighted average metering system, which still puts more emphasis on the center, but it also considers the brightness of the scene around it to an extent. And this metering system, because it's so early, it's like a pioneer of built-in metering through the lens system. It's not super accurate, so sometimes if there's like a really bright light in your scene, off to the edge of a really dark place, the reading might be a bit off. So it's definitely not as advanced as modern cameras with evaluative or matrix metering, but for most purposes I find that it's totally fine, and I really trust the meter in this camera. And another great thing I love about this camera is that it takes a small battery. There's like a button cell behind this battery door, and all that's needed for is the light meter system that I was talking about. But if you don't have a battery, if that runs out, you can still shoot the camera, you can still shoot photos as normal, and everything else, like from the shutter to the film advance, everything else is all mechanical, and you can still use the camera as normal. So enough chit chat about the camera specs itself. I'll just be quickly showing you the setup I'm going to be using today. So I am attaching a little GoPro on top of the camera. It does require a cold shoe adapter. But what this allows me to do is show you the scene, show you what I'm seeing, and then also show you the pictures I'm taking. So I think that's a great, interesting way to see what photographers see and what moments they want to capture. Because what everyone sees in the world is a little different, so it's interesting to see the process. Let's go. So I did finally get the negatives and the scans back. I'm always so excited to see my film come back in negative form. You do notice that it is a bit purple. It has like a purple base that's different from other C41 films. It's a little unique trait of Harman Phoenix. But I don't think that really affects anything. However, I do believe the scans, they were cooked. They just have much more contrast than I'd like usually. So even though with the really high contrast on my frames, I do think it gives a unique aesthetic. It kind of makes it look like slide film, even though Harman Phoenix is a negative film. So I hope you did enjoy this video. I hope to do this more. I do have a small collection of different film cameras other than this Pentax Smartmatic. And I hope to try different films and different cameras and see and show you the process each time of how I look at scenes and photos and how I take pictures.